Hello, guys. Welcome to the PBJJF Podcast. Today, here with a special guest, uh, um, Dr. Gustavo. You say doctor here in the US, no? How do you
Yeah,
Dr.
they
Gustavo,
call
right?
me Dr. Medeiros, but
Dr.
actually I don't
Medeiros.
like much. I just say call me Gustavo. That's fine.
You
So
know, just for the respect, I think the way, I think people like usually call you, how they usually call you at work.
call me Gustavo is
Gustavo.
completely fine.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Like in USA, a lot of people like the last name,
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Like you said,
Medeiros.
Dr. Medeiros, yeah.
Yes.
Dr. Medeiros.
Medeiros.
We're gonna be talking about a very important and not very spoken, about mental health. I think we have been seeing so many people, affected by mental health problems that they don't really know how to deal with, and looking for professionals to help. And sometimes people don't really take give it credit to when people are in sick mentally. So I think it's a very important subject for us to touch and to talk about. Not very spoken, and it would be great to talking to Dr. Medeiros, about this. But before we start, guys, I just want to ask you to make sure you guys like, subscribe, click the bell button, share with
Share with your
everybody.
friends. It's very important.
Share and comment if you have any question about mental health and jiu-jitsu. We're here to help. Also want to thank our sponsors, Brave Kimonos, the best jiu-jitsu gear in the market. Brave Kimonos. If you guys like to buy Brave Kimonos product, you go to bravekimonos.com, use PBJJF as a discount code, and you get 10% off.
Good deal.
Santos Lloyd Law Firm, a high-profile immigration law service. You probably went through process, right? You probably know so many people that are need, jiu-jitsu industry. Santos Law Firm, it's the best law immigration office that you guys can go in. You can be sure they will help you with the best.
They have 50 plus lawyers on the
50 plus lawyers work on different visas, different type of visas.
Yeah.
So
They are very big and very professional. Help us a lot.
Yeah.
And now,
We'll highly
we share
recommend.
with you guys, like try if you need or know somebody who's need a law,
service.
connect with the Santos law firms. They are the best in the game.
Also, we have PBS, CRAWLSPACE and Foundation. If you need any ice insulation, any housing foundation, PBS is the company to reach out. Make sure, guys, when you're su- purchasing from those companies, you're actually helping the jiu-jitsu industry, because they are incentivizing the organization, the federation, to keep moving forward. So don't forget about this, guy. If you need any product, you don't have to buy anything. Just go and give a like, comment.
Follow
Go there,
them on the social media.
follow them
no?
on social media. This I think or tell other people about them, because they're really trying to help the jiu-jitsu industry. And you see different industries coming to jiu-jitsu. They're really seeing the potential out of the jiu-jitsu audience. So Brave Kimonos, Santos Lloyd Law Firm, PBS CRAWLSPACE, and Perkins Dental Care. If you need dental service in Baltimore area, James Perkins Dental Care. He'll take care of you guys.
The tough dentist in the
The
area.
toughest dentist. He's a blue belt. He's a blue belt.
He's a blue
Close
belt.
to the purple belt. So that's it, guys. Thank you, Gustavo, for being here with us today. It's a pleasure to have you here. And so, starting about our conversation, let's go back a little bit. About your background. Where you came from. Like the transition moving to the U.S.
Good, good, good. So first, thank you for having me here.
Always, man.
We were
Welcome.
we were talking before the podcast about how much I like the PBJJF and
Thank you,
your
thank you.
organization and
Hey, we
everything.
gotta tell this. Austin, he a jiu-jitsu,
Jiu-jitsu
practitioner, blue belt, yeah?
Yes, blue belt.
Blue belt from form. That's why we get that connection. That's good to, they know too.
Yes, good. I'm absolutely in love with jiu-jitsu, and it's good to talk about this connection of mental health and jiu-jitsu. So my story: I was born in Brazil. I was born in a city that's called Maceió. That's kind of in the more touristy part of Brazil. It's the Brazilian Caribbean with beautiful beaches, with
What are you doing here, man?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
sometimes I ask myself, who is the idiot who chose to come here? And then I remember that myself is the idiot. Okay. And then I went to São Paulo to study medicine. So imagining in the United States would be something like moving from Alabama or Mississippi, which are states that are a little bit more conservative, that are a little bit less socioeconomic status is a little bit lower, and moving to New York or Boston. So that was the transition that I did in Brazil.
It's a shock, you know.
Yes.
They're like, oh my God, there's a lot of different
Yes.
Cultural.
culture, yeah.
Yes, I went from playing soccer on the beach to I'm in the middle of a huge city, which is São Paulo, and now I'm studying there. So I did medical school and I did psychiatry residency at the University of São Paulo. We call it USP, which is a good university in Brazil.
Very, very popular, no? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
It's
very
I think it's the best. USP is the best university in Brazil. I think.
Yes,
right?
according to the rankings, is the best university in Brazil. It's a very good university for us. Of course, it's not. We are not talking about Stanford, Harvard. We are not.
But for
It's
Brazil, is on the top of the rank.
but for the Brazil, is the best university. And then I finished my residency there, and then I had a private practice, and I had a part-time role at USP. So a couple of bad situations with crime in Brazil happened to me. Also, I was trying to do more research, and I saw all the difficulties with the research in Brazil, in terms of organization, in terms of budget. So I said, man, I think that maybe going to the United States, I'll have a better quality of life, not only in my personal life, but also in my professional life. So I'll be able to do higher quality research. I will be able to do kind of with more money, more collaborations, and that I'm very happy to say that those objectives that I had when I came to the United States, they were fulfilled. So 2015, I came to the United States. The United States do not accept residency training from anywhere else. So let's say that you do your residency training in psychiatry in the best university outside the United States. Let's say Oxford, Cambridge, in the UK, whatever. Doesn't matter. You need to redo your residency here. So basically, I had my private office. Things were going well, but I wanted to do better research. I wanted to
You stepped back and did again.
Yes, I took 5 step backs, trying to take 10 steps forward. So this is what I did. I came to the United States, and then I moved. I lived in 3 cities: Chicago, I lived in Dallas, and then I settled at the Maryland area. So I studied to do my residency again. So 4 more years. I did in Brazil 6 years of medical school, and then I did 3 years of residency. I came here. I needed to do 4 more years of residency, and then I did 2 more years of fellowship. So fellowship here in the United States is you do the residency, which is the general area, psychiatry, and then you choose a specific area to specialize. You can specialize in children and adolescents. You can specialize in addictions. There are a lot of different fields. So I finished this year in 2023 fellowship at Johns Hopkins in mood disorders. So mood disorders, the main disorder is depression. So I'm an expert in depression. So after almost 2 decades of studying,
over like 16 years, probably.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
On my
was-
fast count. Yeah.
You're a third degree black belt or fourth degree black
Probably,
belt
yeah.
in medicine, right? Going up to the coral belt.
Yeah, you
Cranking
feel
up,
comparable, like the timing takes to like somebody be a coral belt on jiu-jitsu, you'll be like a coral belt on medicine, like, yeah. Oh,
I
comparable that time, you know.
I appreciate that. I'm not completely sure.
Do you feel like a white belt? I mean, it's like the white belt mentality, where like you're always open to learn. Do you feel that like you're such a high skill, but you still like feel that you have still a lot to learn?
Yes. So the first thing is we know much more about the brain. Let's talk about the brain, right? We know today much more than we knew 20, 30 years ago. But still, we know very little. So we need to understand that the knowledge that we have is very limited, and we need a lot of research to know more.
You'll be a student forever.
Yes.
On that case, you know, like every
Yes.
year people will discover a new thing and from the
Yes.
brand, yeah.
Yes.
That's cool. Like you never knows everything. Keep like kind of like jiu-jitsu too. You never know everything. Every year something's coming new. No, that's maybe why you connect a lot with jiu-jitsu.
I think
maybe that's the case.
It's the thing is you guys are black belts, but you can have the mentality of I know everything, or you can have the mentality, let me watch this tournament. This is a new move.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I do that move, but this grip he does different.
Yep.
So always learning, and that brings also a lot of rewarding feeling as well when you discover something new. So yes, I still love learning. I will be forever a student.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. I'm assistant professor, so in the faculty, you have basically 3 levels. You have a hierarchy. You have assistant professor, you have associate professor, you have full professor. I feel that even when I am on the top, I will get there one day, top of the faculty life. I will continue to have the same mentality.
Gustavo, eu acho que to get the mic a little bit
You can
closer.
pull-
You
you
can
can
move the
Okay.
mic. Yeah.
Okay,
good.
perfect.
Yeah, that's
Perfect. Thank you for
way
letting me
better.
know.
Thank
Yes,
you.
great.
So, how do you see the herança genética? That's a hard word for me in English. I don't even know how to say
Okay.
that. How can they? How do you say herança genética?
Yeah, I would say genetic
Genetic.
vulnerability, maybe.
Genetic vulnerability impacts.
Genetic load, maybe. It's another
Genetic
way.
load impacts people, in depression or
Yeah.
anxiety. Is that something that you can
Compulsion.
we care from our generations?
Yes, so genetic definitely it's a part of the puzzle there of mental disorders. So when we are talking about mental disorders, psychiatric disorders, we are talking about a wide spectrum. So we are talking about depression, bipolar, schizophrenia, let's say a heroin addiction, OCD, we are talking about ADHD. So we cannot say the impact of genetics on the risk of developing. We have to say specific disorders. There are some disorders that they have higher impact of the genetic load. For example, bipolar is one, OCD is another one, and you have others that the genetic is not so strong. But yes, there is a role of genetics, and depending on the disorder, this role is higher or lower. But especially if you have both parents with, let's say about my area, depression, right? So if you have a father, one of the parents with depression, you will have a 30 to 40% of chance of developing depression. If you have both, that would increase to somewhere between 50 and 80%.
Oh my God.
So
It's a lot.
that doesn't mean that you're going to develop it. Okay, you can
increase
see
the chance.
yeah,
But you
it's
have a
half
chance.
full, half full or half empty, the
I see.
glass, but the chance is higher.
Yeah.
And then you can do several things to not develop depression. I know people that pretty much the whole family have depression, and they don't. They are the minority, because if they have both parents with depression, one brother, and this brother also has depression, the chance is high. But there are things that we can do to prevent.
Addiction is like this too, though. Like probably like I don't know the numbers, but like you see like on families like who like the parents addiction or drugs or whatever, and this case keep it repeating
Yes.
on the
Yes.
next generations.
Yes, addiction is very similar. There is a genetic load there, and you see kind of the grandfather had alcohol use disorder, and then the father had alcohol use disorder, and then the patient has, his brother has,
And then just
and breaking this cycle is very
Very
it's very
important.
tough. And I think that exercise, jiu-jitsu are resources that are very important. Depending on the disorder, it's a little bit more effective or not, but something that it's can be very helpful. I would say so. If you do exercise, aerobic exercise, so something that you move
make you
a lot,
sweat.
swimming, cycling, running, jiu-jitsu, so Muay Thai, other things. If you do that for at least 3 days a week for about half an hour in a good intensity, so let's say that good intensity is you are able to sweat, okay? That for moderate depression has the same effect of oral antidepressant. So exercise is amazing to prevent. And I had a couple of depressive episodes, and those depressive episodes were during the residency in Brazil and the residency in the United States. And when you
Too
see,
much pressure, no.
I was not sleeping well, I was not doing exercise, I was gaining weight, I was eating pizza,
Junk foods.
yeah, junk food the whole day. So yes, going back to your question, the genetic load, it's important, but not a 100% thing. Let's say that you have a greater risk,
I see.
but it's not for sure.
No, you can break that cycle.
Yeah.
No, you can be you can break that when you have like all these other scenarios in a good way. You feel like it has the genetic going that way, but if you a health person, push yourself to do exercise, like sleep well, maybe you can get away from the depression.
Definitely. Let's my example of someone who the grandfather had alcohol use disorder, the father had, and he has. If he, let's say, studies, he has a good education and a good job, and then he gets a good wife, and then he has a good support system, that when he has a problem, he has someone that helps him, and then he does exercise, and then he sleeps, and then sleeps well, and he eats well. we don't need to have all of that. But if you take care of yourself, the likelihood of having alcohol use disorder and keep the cycle, it's much higher.
Do you think sometimes people don't even know that they have higher risk, right? Because sometimes people know they have throughout their generation, but they don't even recognize that, right? I don't see many people recognize, oh, my grandma had it, my grandma had alcoholic disorder, my parents, and then hold on, I have a higher chance, so let me research for help, right, before I even get into that. Is there something that people should be more aware of, like understanding their past? Maybe they can start going before, more towards the precaution. What is the word? More for. I forgot the word for this.
Que você quer falar?
More so, my understanding is if you know that you have a higher genetic risk, what could you do to prevent developing?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Like going to the doctor before you actually get into that scenario, you know, but because you already know, like you're talking about 60, 80%. Hey, hold on. Before things happen to me, let me look for help. Let me look for professionals that can really help me to prevent developing those disease. Can we call disease?
Yeah, usually we call disorders, but disease is okay as well. Yeah.
Like, what is your thought on that?
Yeah, so that happens. So psychiatry is changing, right? So psychiatry, when you think about psychiatry in the 30s, in the 40s, in the 50s, those are crazy people, right? I don't like that word much, but that they live inside the hospital, that they behave completely bizarre, and then over time, and then you see that psychiatry is getting closer to us, right? I'm a little bit more anxious. I had a trauma. I had a depressive episode. So psychiatry in the past, it was something that normal people should not have. There is a lot of older people, they still have a lot of stigma with psychiatry. You see younger people, they're more open to it. And I see that it's because of this transition, right? That now psychiatry is part of our lives, okay?
True.
Sometimes we are drinking a little bit more. Sometimes people are smoking a little bit more marijuana. They're trying to stop smoking cigarettes, and then they go to a psychiatrist. So the genetic part, a lot of times it's hard to know who had what our grandparents had, or what first.
It was a normal thing also back then, right? To drink and maybe normal drinking was like a normal thing before, right? Wasn't considered like a disorder. Would that?
Yeah, I think that what happened a lot was people trying to self-medicate with substances. So if I feel anxious, alcohol, they just like stimulate a substance, a neurotransmitter in our brain that's called GABA. Makes you chill, makes you less anxious. So instead of trying other healthier ways to deal with that, they were just like drinking a lot to try to manage that. Or let's say that someone is very depressed, they don't have energy, they don't have motivation, and then maybe a methamphetamine or a cocaine or something like that would help. So I see that was more normal. People had problems with those substances, but I think that a lot of time they didn't want to go to the psychiatrist, and they found that substance was helping them. But the problem is that doesn't help, because it's just like a snowball.
The longest turn, it's gonna be like bad, you know.
It's a downward spiral.
Maybe on that moment he feel better, but like
yes. Yes, exactly.
That's a good way to I never downward spinal.
Yeah, I think that there is. It's English. They say upward spiral is then when one
Positive.
thing leads to another positive thing, and downward spiral. That's my understanding as a Brazilian.
I never heard that, but that's
Yeah, so people want to self-medicate with, let's say that I feel depressed and I use cocaine because cocaine releases some substances that you feel better, you have euphoria, you have energy, you have motivation. I hear my patient describe the day after a cocaine binge is just like terrible. They want to
It's
be
bad than before.
it's much worse than before. A lot of suicidal thoughts. A lot of times they are in the room, dark. So it's kind of, that's why cocaine is not approved to treat depression. There is a reason for that. And the reason is because in the end that will get better, that will get worse.
Or you go keep using until die. Cause like, okay, today you use it today, tomorrow feel bad, you use again and increase the dose and you're gonna die, man.
Yes, exactly.
Like that's like we going on our really dark drugs, but the problem I feel sometimes like medicine is too. When I saw like sometimes around us people like I don't sleep well, let me get this medicine my mom's take, because the mom was like get prescription from the doctor, and let me take health today. They take health for a little bit, sleep well, and they're like, let me take one. Boom. And when you start to use like a medicine, nobody prescribe to you. The doctor not tell or let you to use that. I feel that's like a bad thing too. But they don't see you like a drug because it's a medicine. That happens a lot too.
That happens a lot. And there is a book from a researcher at Stanford that's called Drug Dealer MD. It's pretty much, he talks about that. He talks about being the MD, the medical doctor, being the drug dealer. Mm-hmm. So the person who gives you the drug. So yes, people can get addicted to Prazolam, to Ritalin, there are a lot of different medications that people take.
Brazil.
Yeah, so
my mom is one this person. She auto medication by herself. I tell her like, this is drugs, Yeah. She's like, no. I'm like, okay, of course.
Yeah,
that's like I need this to sleep today. I'm too stressed. I'm like, no, you don't need that.
Yeah.
Don't need that. But
and then if you do, but it's much easier to use Rivotril it's clonazepam. People use here clonazepam. So you have a group of medications that's called benzodiazepines. So it's just like those are calming, sedative medications. So you have a Prazolam, you have lorazepam, you have clonazepam. But no, not a problem. So the thing is, it's much easier to take a pill like that than to do exercise or eat well or do other lifestyle changes, right?
Yeah.
And the problem with those medications is that first they are addictive, but they lose their effect after some time. So today I'm taking 1 milligram. Okay, in 6 months, it's not the same thing. I take 1.5 milligrams. And then after 1 year, maybe it's 2. And when you see, you are completely out of control.
Correct.
Here in the United States, it's a little bit easier to monitor that because we have kind of a lot of online registers for that. So let's say that I see someone in my office. I have access in my computer to all the prescriptions that this person had. So it's a little bit easier. You see there, this guy got
3 boxes last week.
Yes. And then a common pattern is that they go to different doctors, right? Because if they go to the same doctor, they know that they prescribed. So that helps a little bit here in the United States, but still.
And a little bit hard to get on the farmers, because in Brazil, some like small farmers.
Over the counters.
Yeah, they sell like outside without the prescriptions. I see that before.
Yes. So it's some of medications they don't need prescription. You have there is Brazil. There is this much more personal thing as well. No, so it's kind of, let's say that a friend that knows me, every time that I go to Brazil is the same thing. Oh, Gustavo, good seeing you. A long time. You know what?
Can you sign this, please?
Yes. So long time don't see you. You know what? My anxiety is a little bit higher. Can you prescribe that to you or that to me? That so let's say that the some ethical rules related to medicine they are tougher here. Yes, but still you can find it if you go to Lexington Market. You can get all of that.
Another big problem here in USA is the painkiller now.
Yes.
Like on Netflix, they put some documentary about that. That's hard to, especially for like athletics. Sometimes people like I'm in pain or whatever. Start to get in the painkiller. It's hard to go out.
Yes. It's a very interesting story about the painkiller. So there is kind of an organization that says how hospitals they should work. It's called today Joint Commission. They're just like the boss that they say this hospital can work, and they also give you a grade. This is a good hospital or bad. And they give also the registration, so they are very important. And then some time ago, they said that control of pain was very important. That was a disaster because now they don't want anyone to have pain in the hospital, because this way they are going to keep their registration, they are going to have good scores, and then that was the beginning of the disaster. And there was a lot of influence of pharmaceutical companies there and kind of lobby and trying to do that. And then this is terrible. This was terrible.
I watched the had it's sad the way
Yeah.
they did.
Yeah, so it's interesting. So I was with my wife discussing that, because here in the United States, I love this country. This is the country that I want to live in. I'm very grateful. But there are some things that we have to talk about that are not so good.
Like everywhere now.
Yes. So one thing is my wife went to a procedure, and was a very simple procedure, and they gave to her opioids to control the pain. She did not take even Tylenol for that, because in Brazil is you take a tube, you don't take anything, you go home and that's fine, and then you take a dipirona that we have there, and that's okay.
Ibuprofen is the highest, right?
Yes. So I feel that here, because of this joint commission decision, it was created a culture of we cannot tolerate pain. And we can also try to link that to jiu-jitsu, to how to tolerate difficult situations as well. And we can talk more about, if you want to talk about how jiu-jitsu can help us to tolerate uncomfortable things.
Uncomfortable, yeah. It's all the time.
So is that a mindset? Like when we talk about jiu-jitsu, right? we see, we a lot of times not just what we do, but it's the way we think, right? Like the way maybe I'm on a bad uncomfortable position, like okay, I know what to do, I just gotta work on my plane. And is that the mindset of like, all right, I gotta work my way out of this, instead of panicking and just like tap, is that like a mindset that helps lead us to behave differently?
Yes. So there is a trait that's called resilience. So resilience comes from physics. That's pretty much you have a material, and it's how much force you can put in that material so it doesn't break. It can come back to original form without breaking. So let's do an analogy and talk about humans, right? So the resilience is how much we all face adversities. We all face bad things. We face difficulties with our wives, in our company, someone in our family will die. We all face that. So developing resilience is extremely important. That way of you are receiving that pressure, you are getting that force that's uncomfortable, and you hold that, and then you go back to your normal. So I feel that jiu-jitsu is very important for that. So I remember when I have just about 4, and that's extremely important for success in life. I will talk first about jiu-jitsu, and then I will try to transfer that to life. So jiu-jitsu, I remember you starting as a white belt, you don't breathe, and then you feel that you are fighting for your life, and then it's a 5-minute round, and then with 1 minute you are, oh my God, you look at the clock and say, what I'm going to do, and then the guy mounts you, and then he drops the hips on you, and you don't know that you need to go to your side, and that you tap because of the pressure. And then the resilience is that, no, it's the ability of slowly tolerate more and more and more and more. So you know that next time you're going to breathe a little bit less, you're going to be at the same position, and then your professor, your coach says, turn to your side and just like focus on breathing. And then when the guy, you notice that he's going to attack you, try to breach, or when you see that knee, try to kind of recover half guard, something like that. And that feeling that you can tolerate a little bit more is amazing. That develops the resilience of, oh my God, I can tolerate something that I could not even think. And then at some point, you see that you are in a terrible situation and your mind is cool. And then we go back to the tolerance, to the resilience. The force is there, the pressure is there. I've been here before. I know that I will tolerate that. When you see you are already on top. So it's kind of, jiu-jitsu is impressive for that. And this is so important in our life. You do your business, you do the PBJJF, so
you know pressure all the time.
You know that there are some competitions that are more successful than others. There are some podcasts that are more successful than others. There are some months that are. So having the resilience, having the persistence to continue, even though things sometimes are not so good, it's extremely important for success.
I try to translate the jiu-jitsu scenario to my life all the time. But some people don't know this yet. Even they train jiu-jitsu, they don't translate it to their life. You know, I feel like we need to talk more about that to make it easy to people. Like, man, you can support pressure in your life too. You do already. You know how to deal with that.
Yes.
Just translate it to the life. That's gonna make it your life easier.
Yes. And I think that there is a very important point there. You need to have resilience, you need to have persistence, but you need to be smart and try to improve. There is that saying that they say that stupidity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result,
yeah.
right? So you need resilience, you need persistence, but you need to see what are the results, how things are going, try to get feedback and try to improve. If every time I row, I go 100%, the guy mounts me, I'm gonna tap. Doesn't matter how much effort I put there, I'm gonna tap. So I think that developing resilience and persistence is huge. And I agree with you. People say, so I want to do jiu-jitsu for self-defense. And then I think myself, how many times were I in a fight on the streets? I never punched no one. I was never punched neither. It's 0-0.
Yeah.
But how many times in my life I was in residency, I was saying, this is terrible. I'm not feeling good. I want to sleep. And then you are able to go a little bit more. And then you say, I'm so proud that I was able to hold that. So I think that it's good. The self defense, it's an important part, because that I don't think that we use the self-defense. Today, everyone has guns. If you go to something like knife, guns, it's gonna be a mess. It's not your take that we saw Leandro Lo, right? We saw what was very, yeah, was. But so that will help us to, when something happens, we are going to act more calmly. Instead of panicking, we are going to act more calmly. But I think that the big, you have much more experience than me. But my perception is that those things, they're much more important.
Well, I feel that self-defense. Sorry, you want to?
Yeah, no, just about the self-defense. I think what you're talking about, it's building confidence, right? With the self-defense, build you confidence of in your life in general, right? Oh, I know I can defend myself. Someone tried to hurt me, I can defend myself. It builds you a type of confidence that can lead to other positive actions.
Understand?
Do you feel that when you like building real confidence? You know, it's not just fake confidence. Like kids, you know, like the kids, you see the kids coming to the school shy, and then you start giving them confident enough, then they start speaking to other people, then they become leaders of a group, of a class, and I think it's the positive snowball.
Yeah, I
On
think
my,
so.
on
Go
my
ahead.
procedure, I feel like the self-defense sometimes is an introduction to let them do on jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
Like everyone, because if we get somebody on the first class and they put here on the bottom and say to somebody mount on here, maybe he's not gonna come back on the next class. Like, man, that's too much for me. I never will learn how to deal with that pressure or whatever. But if I slow down the process, put him on a self-defense class,
Yes.
little bit slow, 1 week, 2, 3, do like a program that, and eventually he'll do jiu-jitsu like everyone, but the retention will be way bigger.
Yes,
sense.
I like both points. One thing is, first, if correct me if I'm wrong, but you are saying if you are exposing someone to a potential situation, they will have more confidence and maybe act more with more calm in that situation and more confidence.
and being confident is leading you to positive actions. Like the way you treat people. When you're confident, you don't have to put people down to build yourself up. Many other aspects that you get. I think with self-defense, you're not going to use it, but you're going to get, in my point of view, will get you hooked in jiu-jitsu to eventually ended up getting the other benefits of jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
Like Max was saying, like experiencing. Because sometimes when you just show a technique, but you don't allow them to feel the benefit of that technique, get them not as hooked with jiu-jitsu.
We are thinking in different ways, and I think that
But
you
they
are
connect.
you are thinking in a business way. That's extremely important, right? So if I say to someone, welcome to jiu-jitsu, this is my gym, today we're going to work Barry Bolo from De La Riva.
They're like, oh
And
my
they-
God.
They won't. Yeah.
Oh my God, what is
How
this?
this guy invert like that, man? It's impossible.
Yeah, but if you say, okay, today you're going to say if someone tries to
Choke you from the
Choke
back.
you from the
Or
back.
punch.
yes,
Because the
yes,
most common thing is like, hey, we're gonna get into a fight. I'm gonna punch you.
yes,
And look, we're talking about that because like our mission with jiu-jitsu is use jiu-jitsu as a way to change people's lives. The business is something that needs to be sustainable, so we can have that community, so we can help more people. But the end goal is help people with jiu-jitsu. Like your end goal is not your business. Bring more people to the door because you want financially success. I believe, you have a mission behind what you do, which is like having a better world, helping people to be more healthier mentally, and physically by what you do. That's kind of like my point of view.
Yes.
When we talk about jiu-jitsu, it's like, man, I think we're gonna get there, financially, but I think the main goal is really use jiu-jitsu as a way to change people's lives.
Yes, and I think that there is a huge potential there. And I agree. Self-defense, we might not be using that so frequently, but has several benefits. I think the most important is kind of engaging in the process in BJJ lifestyle. Yeah.
And how you talk about, so how that, because jiu-jitsu is a community, right? That's kind of how I see how that community can help you to get through depression and any anxiety. So how important is that community for us?
It's something incredible. The BJJ community, for me, one of my best friends, most of my best friends, they are from the gyms that I went to,
cool,
from
man.
jiu-jitsu. And so they did this study. I even made a post, I think, 2 days ago about, they did this study, was a 80-year study in Harvard that started in the, I think, 1930s, and they followed up people for their whole life. JFK was one of the participants in this study, and then they saw what brings happiness to people. Achievements.
Choke each other. No, just kidding.
Yeah, maybe they did not assess that. That's why that was not the answer, but was meaningful relationships. It's fulfilling relationships. Are those relationships that, it's not, sometimes you are in a room that it's full of people, but you feel alone. I'm not talking about that type of relationship. The study shows that is connectedness. That's kind of deep relationships. Maybe I have 4 or 5 friends. Those are my friends. Those are the friends that when I have a flat tire at 3 a.m., I call. Those are the friends that when something bad happens to me. So I feel that in jiu-jitsu, it's easier to develop these relationships. I feel that there is something odd about, first, you can just practice with someone else. You cannot practice alone. Second, I will try to kill you, or not kill you, to submit you in the next 5-6 minutes, depends on your division. And then we are talking about something that happened with my life, or with my wife, or in my job. I feel that this...
Even in competition sometimes, you compete with the guy and after, hey, let's go get a dinner, man. I did that many times. That's crazy.
Açaí.
Yeah.
Yes,
In Brazil, have the açaí culture like so hard, so strong. After the practice, man, I tried to kill my partner. He tried to kill me. We trained so hard, but hey, let's go get açaí, man. Yeah, let's go. Boom. Walking, get the açaí together. That's real.
Yes, you competed much more internationally than me. But what I feel is that sometimes when I travel somewhere, I just went to Brazil. I spent 3 weeks there. I visit 2 gyms there. Man, it's amazing.
You feel home now.
Oh my God, it's amazing, the BJJ community.
Yeah.
So you feel home. They treat you well. And then I went to Chicago also, and then I visit 2 gyms there. It's amazing. They want to show the city to you, and then of course there is the etiquette there. So if they have a fee, you pay the fee. If they don't have a fee, buy a rash guard or do anything.
Yeah.
They're just to show
We have
support.
the experience in my school yesterday. Like 2 days ago, a guy come from Ohio. I never see him, but his work is like really close to my gym now, and he stopped by to do a drop-in. Drop in, I told in the class, hey, we have an open mat tomorrow. We go celebrate Halloween, blah, blah, blah. Show up. And he's like, yeah, I don't know. I'm like, show up, man. Man, he show up, have a nice roll with everybody. We eat after, hang out. He stay outside with us, like around the barbecue, like for like an hour after, you know. And he told me that, like, hey, thank you for welcome so well, blah, blah, blah. Definitely will come back. He's new blue belt, so he told, like, that's the second gym he visited without it being on his school, you know, and he feel like it's so welcome. He likes a lot.
Yeah,
and
this is very
when he left,
powerful,
I
man.
told my students, I'm like, that's why it's jiu-jitsu, man. Everywhere you guys going, you go have like a place to connect. You know?
Yes. I feel that when I visit other gyms in competitions as well. So the community is very strong. It's important to have. So I feel that in my gym, I start develop deep connections, and then in the other gyms, you kind of have some more support and a better experience. Of course, if you visit a gym for one day, they're not going to become your better friends, but you are going to have a much better experience. Maybe the city, in the end of the day, they say, oh, let's go to a bar or restaurant.
If he don't connect with jiu-jitsu, probably he go left his job, eat something, and back to the hotel.
Yes.
That would be, but he has jiu-jitsu, and after that he gets some workouts. You know, he train, he learn something new from a different instructor, connect with the different people. You know, day after he hang out with us, have like some fun, eat some burgers. You know, and that's like this connection is amazing.
Yeah.
You know.
And what I love about the community in jiu-jitsu, it's you have everyone there. You have from all socioeconomic status. You have in our gyms, you have people that are extremely of high wealth. You have most people are somewhere in the middle class there. You have people that they have low socioeconomic status. Man,
But on the matches, everybody's like on the same page.
Religions,
Yes.
beliefs, like different religions, and
Different
where you would
religions.
never connect with people, and then you see someone from this religion that thinks extremely different from this beliefs, and they connect in peace.
That's great too.
You know, like, which nowadays is extremely hard, you know, with social media technology. It's about hate, right? Like in the internet, it's about hating each other. But when you bring people to the mat, it's about love, you know, peace. You know, that's kind of how I really see that deep connection.
yes. So go ahead.
Yeah, well, I kind of talk to people about this. I kind of feel like we're on the mat. We don't see the case. We see inside. You know, this is just a case. But on the mat, when you're training, when you're hanging out with people, you are able to see people inside. You know, instead of just the case.
How do you think that you are able to see people inside?
The way we behave on the mats is the way we are, right? You see someone losing, trainers like snap, the way they talk to people, you know, like you're able to talk to people deeply, in a open way, you know. I think when we're tired, you know, like you tend to like give more of yourself to others, you know. That's kind of how I feel I'm able to see more people internally, you know, because we have beliefs. If someone looks this way, we think this way of them.
Yes.
Right? But when we talk, we forget the case. Like we don't. I talk to you, but I don't see what my beliefs are, so I'm able to talk to you deeply internally. That's kind of how I feel.
Yes, I
you
agree.
know?
There are many prejudices that I was able to overcome in jiu-jitsu. I will not share some of them just like for
sure.
privacy
Exactly.
of friends in my gym. But it just reminded me of interview that I saw of Sean Strickland. He's very controversial. I'm not saying that everything he says is good. I'm just focusing on one thing, that he used to talk a lot really bad about Muslims. And then a friend of him went to him and said, man, look how important religion is for us. Being a Muslim means this. And then he gave an interview that he stopped pretty much talking about bad or talking offensively to Muslims because of this friend that he had. So I think that's an example that in the gym you get connected to everyone, and the unknown is very more scarier than when you meet the person. So maybe a Muslim that you see there in the room, somewhere else, you have a lot of prejudice, but when you roll, when you talk, and then the guy says, man, that what said was not
It's
so
not
good,
cool.
man. I think that you are a very nice guy, but just be aware of that. So yes, it's a place that you are exposed to everyone.
Everyone. We have a question here. We need to have a lot of empathy and know how to listen. It's very hard to get patience from younger people. How can we start a conversation when we identify a person with depression to help them?
Yes,
That's
yes.
hard.
That's hard. I think that showing that you care about the person, that's important. So let's say that you are my brother, and I see that you have depression and you don't want to get treated. Be genuine, be frank, and say, Max, I'm here, man. You are so important for me. I want you to feel well. We are together in this journey. I think that truly you need some help. If you want, I can help you to find someone. I can go with you to the appointment. I care about you. I want you happy. I want you well. So show that you care.
Show you care.
I think that that's very important. And trying to see what's important for them. Because sometimes you want them to do something, and you give the reasons that are important for you,
Not for the person.
not for the person. So I see that all the time. For example, I had a patient that smoked the whole life. Smoked the whole life. Everyone said the patient knew that was bad for the lungs, that increased the risk of cancer, was all they knew everything that was bad. And then he had a grandson. And then he was saying how important it is, the grandson, for him. In my head was, that's
it.
let's try to bring the cigarette there. So say, yes, I'm sure that if your grandson sees you quitting a cigarette after so many years, I think that he will be so proud of you to doing that.
That's a click.
And then clicks in him, because I'm not telling him what it's important for me. Maybe for me is to, I don't know, to have a better cardio in jiu-jitsu or not have cancer. So show that you care and that they have support, and try to think what's important for them. Sometimes they want to be a better employee. Sometimes they want to be a better husband, a better father. Sometimes they want to... There people, what motivate people, it's very different. So try to enter the person's head and think what's important for this person. And they say, okay, I'm not a good father, I'm not... Okay, man, we are together, let's do this. There are very effective treatments for that. I know that your son is very important for you. I feel that sometimes you don't feel like going to his soccer game, whatever. If you treat your depression, you're going to be more likely to go there. We are together on that. So I would say the two things: support and try to see what's important for the person.
That's connected to I used to have my family back in the day. I have a uncle. He overweight, very overweight, like on like a medical point, and he always avoid to do the surgery, the stomach reduction.
Bariatric?
Bariatric surgery.
Yeah, he always avoid because he always scared with the process, because you need to do a diet before he really overweight. He can't just get and do the surgery. He need to do a diet before lose a couple weights to he can do the surgery like in a healthy and secured situation. And he always is scared with that. He like no, I'm not gonna do. His wife get pregnant. Man, change everything on his mind. He starts to do the diet. He starts to lift weight, move around more, because he will start to think like, man, I can almost, I don't move well. How I gonna play with my daughter? How I gonna bring my daughter to the school? How I gonna, I gonna go to the beach with my daughter because he avoid going to the beach with us too for a long time, and he wanna live these times with her daughter, and he lost the weight like, man, over 16, 17 pounds. Kilos, sorry. He need to lose before doing the surgery. He lost like that, like 2 months. Did the surgery, and today he's like a completely different person. But man, I know he says I'm born. He always overweight, and he changed his mind like in 3-4 months, just because something is really important to him. Now I can see that.
Yes, and understand that we are talking when everything goes well, right? But in the process, they're just like jiu-jitsu. If you want to win whatever pens, or you're going to have losses. The process not always is so smooth. So maybe the first medication you try, you don't get along well. Maybe the first therapist you do, you don't like the person. So it's a process that needs persistence. Sometimes everything goes very smooth, but even if it doesn't go well in the beginning or at some point, try to see what happened and move forward. It's kind of just like the resilience and the persistence that we were
probably
talking.
on his case, they have his own problems that we don't see outside. We just see the results. Maybe on this journey, these 20 years, he tried to do every time, but never like commit. Fell on the process.
Yes.
But we just saw the results. The last 4 months, 5 months, who works. Then that's. But on his skin probably hurts more than
Yes.
than what I saw.
Yes.
I actually have some questions here. I'm gonna have to read them.
Sure.
What are the latest advancements in understanding the neurobiological basis of mental health disorders? Is that too much
No.
to
but,
go through?
So there are a lot to untangle there. So first, we again, when we talk about mental disorders, we are talking about a very heterogeneous group. So maybe what we discovered recently in ADHD is completely different from depression. But I would say that in depression, some things that are important. One is we see the role of inflammation. So we see that a part of the patients with depression, they have high degrees of inflammation in the body. So inflammation is just like, imagine when you are sick. You don't want to get up. You want to stay more in bed. There is a sickness-like behavior. So what we see recently, and we are trying to monitor that, is that some people, they have inflammation, and fat produces also inflammatory factors. But there are a lot of new advancements. So very well established is that this front part of the brain in depression, I'm talking specifically about depression, doesn't work well. So we try to understand which kind of neurotransmitters or pathways are the most important. This the brain is divided in different parts, and this frontal part here, the front part of the brain, is one that we've seen a lot of recent discoveries there. There is also the base of the brain where you process rewards, because sometimes when you are depressed, something good happens, but you don't process. It's for you is amazing, but for them it's just like they don't feel the the dopamine. They don't feel that. So there are some new discoveries as well about how people with depression process rewards, process positive events. So there are so many things that are going on in depression. And again, going back to that point, we don't know much about the brain. Those are things that we are discovering, but inch by inch. Maybe in 50 years, we watch this podcast here and say, oh my God, look at them, they didn't know nothing. They were talking about inflammation and frontal brain, frontal lobe, and about reward, and today we know much more. So our knowledge is still relative limited. Our understanding of neurobiology is slowing increase, but yes, we have effective treatments. A lot of times it's not the first treatment that will make you to have to remit of your depression, but if you are persistent, if you try one antidepressant, you have the chance of 50% of response. If you try two, you have 70% of chance of responding. If you try three, you have around 80% chance of responding. So the idea, it's kind of try. If things are not working well, try another psychiatrist, try another. Is persistent that most people, they get better, but not always with the first treatment.
The first one. And you're talking about that, so chronic pain can cause depression. It's kind of like that, because we're talking about pain. You're talking about maybe inflammation, right? Is that something that can cause patients with chronic pain, not treated pain, can lead to that?
Yeah. So pain and depression, it's they are connected. So people with pain, chronic pain, they have higher rates of depression, and people with depression, they have more pain. They have much more vulnerability regarding the pain that for someone who is not depressed is not so annoying. For someone who is depressed is very annoying. We have some medication that treats both. So you have, for example, duloxetine, which is an antidepressant that they can treat both. You have nortriptyline, which is another one. You have ketamine, that's a medication that we can also give to treat both. But yes, there is a relationship between the two problems, and there are some medications that can try to help both problems at the same time.
That's interesting. Can I go with another one? You good, Max? One
Yeah,
more?
I'm good, man. We should see like more people comment here.
How can technology such as virtual reality or AI-driven intervention be harnessed to improve mental health care and accessibility?
Yes.
Is that a possibility?
There is a lot of AI research and use of technology going on. One thing is sometimes is very difficult to ask people to answer questionnaires or to provide active data. So what people are trying is to get passive data. So let's say that what they are trying to do is, for example, a lot of work with the smartphone. So when you are depressed and when you are not depressed, some things that you do change. The amount of exercise you do, how we sleep, how many times we wake up in the middle of the night, if we use more Facebook or Instagram or not. When you are more depressed, you tend to use more Instagram. So what they are trying to do is try to see patterns of use. So you have heart rate, you have how much you walk, you have how you sleep, you have the apps you use. So can we start seeing early when, oh, this guy is not good? And so this is what people are trying to do. Is trying to develop algorithms that you start seeing when the person is becoming a little bit more unstable.
That's good. Use the technology on the side,
Yes.
It's a positive way of using.
It's a positive way. Yeah, it's a positive way.
And leading to what you're saying, like throughout like the new generation, right? It's more into Instagram, TikTok, and those platforms leads to cases of mental disease.
Yeah.
By diving into
everything
the
they want.
use of those technology or those apps or social media.
Yeah. I see like the classic thing is a knife, right? It's the tool and what you do with it. You can kill someone with a knife. You can use it to
Nice dinner,
cook,
make a
nice
necklace.
dinner, whatever. If you see there is a correlation that more time in social media usually correlates with more depressive symptoms. But we need to be careful. This is a correlation. This is not a causation. There are some differences that because people that are depressed, they stay more at home. A lot of times they have less support system. So pretty much they spend most of the time that they have online on the social
Play video
media.
games or whatever.
Yes, but I think that's a very powerful tool that we can have, so that we can use. Having an Instagram, so I started 3 weeks ago something very simple. I was seeing so much crap online about depression. You probably see that in jiu-jitsu as well. So the guy is showing a move that never works and that's gonna blow the guy's knee or whatever. I was seeing so much crap that say,
That's right.
yeah.
I
So
want to talk about the. Sorry. I see so many people with no background to speak about something just for the views.
yes,
Talk about mental just to get the views.
yes. So the thing is, you kind of just like throw a title that attracts new vitamin cures depression. And then you read and say, oh my God, so much crap here. So what I saw is that there is a gap between what science produces and what lay people see. The problem is that a lot of people in science, the researchers, they know a lot. They discover a lot of interesting things. But talk to them, it's almost impossible to understand because they go so much to the technical terms, the jargon. On the other
It's hard
hand,
to get on the people, on the normal people, because they never
Yes.
understand.
which the vast majority of the people who are depressed, they don't
know the
understand
terms
that
and-
information. So even our talk here, I'm trying to do my best. And then in my Instagram, I started 3 weeks ago. I said, okay, my role will be to get scientific information, digest, and give to the lay people. So this is what I'm trying to do. 3 weeks that I'm doing that. So much good feedback. So much good feedback. So a lot of invitations of podcasts, people encouraging. So things are I feel that this is the way to go. We have plans, maybe book, maybe YouTube channel, but I see right now my main role is research in depression, but I want to also to develop in parallel this role of being someone, a communicator that gets complex information and transforms, digests that, and gives as something that you can better understand. So this is what we are trying to do. So going back to the social media, it's just like what you do with it. You can do that to kind of do terrible things. You can do that to try to help, to develop a line that if you have suicidal ideation and you are thinking about end your life, you can quickly get connected to someone. Or if you want to have free therapy, you can also can have free therapy there. So all depends on how we use it.
Yeah, we saw a case in Brazil last week, now like a comment guy, comment
Like influencer?
suicide, like a social media influencer from Bahia. He's very fun, like for you always like bring comment thanks, blah blah blah, and he commit like a suicide. That's hard on the social media. We never know, like who in a depressed situation or whatever. You know, that's hard because you can post something that it's not like real how you feel. You know, he always is like laughy, bring it good energies, and man,
Yeah, a very good friend of a friend that I have. Something, his father just like died of suicide as well, and a lot is stigma, you know. And one of the roles that I want is to kind of get people to a professional to get help earlier. As you said, we have the persona here, we are talking here, but there are a lot of things inside that we don't share. We don't know what people is going on. So we need to reduce that stigma. We need to facilitate connection to good care, to good professionals
on
as
social
well.
media too. I think so. Like that generation, that's just my vision. It's like, don't understand wrong, guys, but like you can get anything you wanna on your hands, and like the technology throw on you what you wanna see. If I start to search jiu-jitsu, example, and when I open my Instagram on the Explore, we throw like a lot of jiu-jitsu things on my hand. Boom, 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 boom. We can get that. All the informations. If I'm start to play a game, the phase is too hard, I just should reset and go back to a easy way. You know, everything is like too easy. It's too easy. We can get everything in our hands. When you throw that kid on a real life and they start to get no's, life is hard sometimes, you know. They try and guide it to like a way, I don't know, they prefer to be on the hands. No, I don't wanna go that connected to these people. It's too hard. Let me be here on my Instagram or like social media or whatever, you know.
Leading to that, I don't know if it's something. Can social economics cause more or less case of depression?
So how much the person earns, if that's important or not?
Like yeah, or like if they're like less wealth or wealthier, like can that relate to? Can be something that can be more or less.
There is a good amount of research there. So as long as the minimal things that you need are fulfilled, doesn't matter much. So if you are in a safe, you have a home, you have access to food, you have access to education, if you have access to these basic things, that's not everyone who has. I think that this paper, there is a very good paper, I think that was around 2010. They estimated around 70,000, 80,000 a year, more or less. So people under that, they would have more depression. After that, there is no difference if you make 150 or if you make 150 million. So there is no difference. So the big difference is, do I feel safe? Do I have food? Do I have
the minimum to live.
minimum to live? The minimum to live, I mean, in relatively good standards, because we know that the minimum wage in Brazil does not give you the minimum to live. So in the 2000s, beginning of 2010s, was about 70, 80, the cutoff. After that, there is no difference.
That's interesting
That's
to
interesting,
to know. But we see we also see the kids from new generation with I don't know if there's more case or we know more about it or speak more about it than the less wealthy new generation kids. I mean, like 6, 7, 8. Is that some because like sometimes we see like the kids basically sometimes they have whatever they want, right? And I think we start seeing their sense or feeling they start feeling the sense of outwards, rewards, outwards differently because you give I give you I want a PlayStation, I give you a PlayStation. I want this, you give you this, and then nothing is fulfill them. I that's what I see or try to feel. It's not fulfilling anymore because it's just losing the sense, the purpose. You know, I feel like
We
sometimes
feel
the
that
kids
a lot
are,
on the mat.
yeah, on the mat. You see, like when you have everything and you don't have to worry about anything. You maybe can the sense of purpose impact into depression?
So definitely. So we talked about a lot of different things. So we start seeing that depression is not this causes depression or that causes depression, but we talk about genetics. We talked about a lot of different things. But yes, connections is very important. There are some people that have everything, but actually very lonely, and having this meaning, have this symbolic, what makes for you a life worth living. This is extremely powerful, and a lot of times it's not what you have, but the relationship you develop with what you have.
Kaka.
So sometimes you can have something, but you don't see the value or the way you see, so you can see at your house and say, oh my god, my neighbor's house is much nicer and greater. Or you can
The
see,
grass neighbor always matters. They have that.
yeah, or you can see, man, I came from Brazil, I had nothing, I had a mud, and I came from Brazil with nothing, with a dog and a suitcase. This is the house that we have, and this is so meaningful for us, so much work. You should be so proud of that. So a lot of times is the meaning that you give to things, how you see things, not what you have, but how you see that.
Like teaching this is hard, for the next generation.
It's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard. And I was thinking about what you were mentioning, that everything was easy. Jiu-jitsu is a very good way to show that not everything is easy.
Yeah.
Because
That's what we try to do for real. We talk about this a lot. Like sometimes when we get kids on the school, and they like very well for the family, get a good established. They can have everything. It's hard to say no to that, and that's our job to put him on the mat and say like, no, we're not gonna do this now. Sit down, cross your legs, be respectful, be humble. Okay, time to to roll. We're not gonna play today because you don't respect the rules. Sometimes they get these on jiu-jitsu, not just jiu-jitsu. We talk about jiu-jitsu because that's what the martial arts we follow. That's what we're doing. But other sports doing that too with the kids. I feel like if you feel very wealthy, if you get a good life, put your kids on the sports. That's gonna help you here a lot.
Yeah,
that's how I see.
I feel that's very powerful.
Yeah.
Kind of knowing the world, as you said, there are limits, there are things you can do, there are things you cannot do. Learning that soon, and learning that in a way that you are doing that in an assertive way. It's not an aggressive way, right? It's not kind of hit the guy.
Yeah.
If not, it's kind of
There's a lot of other ways
that's
to
not
teach
time.
it. Yeah.
That's not the time. You need to wait there, cross your legs. That's not so. Showing that in an assertive way is so powerful. And then when they go to college, and then when they go to real life, they will succeed.
Yep.
It's much more likely. Because otherwise, they do whatever they want, and then they are fired, and then the college, they don't finish college, and then the wife, they have a terrible relationship because
he don't get how I visualize how I saw that. That's because he don't get nose enough when he's young,
yeah,
and then when the nose come later, it's too hard to they deal with that.
yeah.
I don't know.
That's
That's like we on the match know, man. A lot of people pass on our eyes, like on our hands on the mat, and you can see that things coming, going through whatever, and you see different perspective. And I feel like some kids or some even adults when get exposed with these nose on jiu-jitsu or with these hard mats with the mounting situation, and they get more like humble and understand they need to come back. You gotta come back tomorrow. You gotta try again. You gotta try again. And these give a better life in the future. You know? They learn a lot.
They say that the education, the best one is kind of when you use assertiveness. So the idea is, imagine that you have a spectrum, that one side you have people are passive. So the kid is doing everything and then it's fine, no problem. And the other end of the spectrum is the aggression. They do something, you hit them, and then you kick them, and then they are full of bruises. And the assertiveness is that telling what you want to do, giving the limit, but in a way that's effective, that's compassionate. So that's very important.
Yeah.
There are different ways of putting the limits. If you are able, and I'm sure that with your size, with your voice, you are able to do that. But just like
not really, kids sometimes don't care.
Really? And just like say, no, that's not right time.
Yeah.
Not right time, man. You need to stay there. But it's hard. Sorry to interrupt you. When you do that in the gym, and then they go home, and the dynamics is different.
Yeah.
Children, they need consistency, and that it's sometimes hard for you because
we have like then maybe 45 minutes an hour a day, and the last 23 hours he now with us now.
Yes.
But like one thing with the limit is hard. If I teach my daughter's class, she don't respect me.
Why do you think so?
I don't know. She don't respect me. Marsha, the other instructor teaching, she do everything.
And
But I
anything
don't know why.
that you think that Marsha uses, or
I don't know. It's not just respect, but like I feel like, example, I'm standing up in front of the kids. She don't wanna be on the dot. She try to be close to me. Do you know what I mean? Like she only 2 years and a half.
okay,
She's very young. But when Marsha teach, she be on the dot. She do the warm up. I feel like when I'm there, she wanna just play. She don't understand this time to like.
I understand.
But it's crazy, you know. But I try to put limit on her, but like on the class, it's impossible. I can't do it. she need to. But Marcia, she do everything.
Yeah, I think that will be
It's
natural
crazy.
with being aware of that. That's in the back of your mind. And she's too young, man.
Yeah.
2.5 is quite young.
Yeah, she's trying to
so-
have. Normally, we don't. I don't even get any kids on that age. But she's my daughter. My school is
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
But like, yeah, just it's hard to.
I think because Mars is the main instructor, right? Like she's a. You don't teach the class every day. Do
No,
you?
no.
So she's used to look at Mars as a professor and Daddy as a daddy, because Daddy's
Yeah.
not there every day.
Yeah.
Like I see with the kids, I have like
Makes sense.
so many kids because they start behaving like the other kids, and like they already know if a new instructor come in, I usually tell them to get on the mat in one way. If the instructor say the other way, they wait for the way I do, because they're so consistent on that behave. They know when classes start, Professor JP will call, or any instructor will call, yellow belts, and the yellow belts get on the mat, so we make the line.
Yeah.
Because if I call everybody together, that's gonna be a mess.
Yeah.
You know, they sit on the bench and they're like, yellow belts can get on the mat. They get on the mat.
Yeah.
If you have a gray in your belt, they can get on the mat. They get on the mat. You know, like, but if you come in like, hey guys, you can get on the mat, they'll be waiting. Like the day I was
Maybe
at,
probably is that too.
You know,
Maybe
like,
like
I
a person who's leader that every day, and then just get one day to cover that. She like, nah, that's not a class. That's
yeah.
like,
And the way they
it's no way to
behave,
do
you
it.
know, they
Yeah.
usually behave in the class. That could be. That's how I see work
Yeah.
daily.
But I
you know?
feel one good thing. I never think on that way, but I always think about the way like, man, maybe I need they help it to giving control to her. Do you understand? It's like, because if on my side she just seem like a daddy, I get home, we play, we run around, we jump. She wanna do that when she's sitting on a mat,
Yes.
and like, okay, have somebody to deal with these is good
Yes.
too. You know, like sometimes
Yeah.
we
You're
can
not
do.
24, yeah, no,
I'm not
100%.
100%. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah,
Maybe
so-
she's in an age that she's not able to differentiate the characters.
Yeah.
It's not dad and the coach. It's kind of pretty much the same thing. And so children's
My wife is studying, she don't understand the difference too. I get home like line up, fix her out. Why? Why you talk with me like that? I'm like, oh my god. Hey, I'm your coach here. Please respect.
so she trains.
She's a blue belt. She trained.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
She's not like this. I'm just killing guys.
That's funny. Yeah, I think that's how I see the kids. You know, sometimes you're the daddy, you know,
Yeah,
and there Marcia is the
the instructor.
professor.
Yeah. Shout out to Marcia. She listen to us.
Yeah, she's watching us here.
Yeah.
Gustavo, thank you so much for being here with us today. Such a pleasure to have you. You know, like you've seen the, you know, like a step in and then we talk
We
about
go
many
in
things.
one,
We go there,
could
come
go
back.
another way. It's like
It's like a conversation. Really try to make like a conversation more like you're the data. You're like, I know you need to be sharp on what you're saying. You have the data. We're saying things without the research that you have. You know, that's kind of how we try to make it. If you guys enjoy it,
But I feel like that way is good because maybe for the people who watch us,
yeah.
have the
We-
same
we are
stupid
the-
questions that
yeah.
we have,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and then like,
And
help.
they- same
they are
beliefs.
not stupid at all. It's but there is a lot of poor quality information,
outside.
and we don't have contact to. I was thinking when I was in school, I was always a good student. I knew how to do a lot of chemistry and physics things, but I was terrible in communication, in how to ask for help, and how supporting friends, and how to recognize depression. So we are not trained on that. So it's common that we have so many questions and not much knowledge there. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is the first time you come to our podcast. We hope to see you in every season if you're open. So every season we have a new mug, so you can collect the mugs throughout the season.
That's your mug.
Okay, thank you so much.
And so how people can get in touch with you if they're something that they can go to somewhere to
Now you
get
post a lot
treated,
on social
you
media
post on
now.
social media.
Yeah, so I think that the Instagram is the easiest way to get connected to me. So it's my first name, Gustavo, and C, which is my middle name. So C as in Charlie, and then Medeiros, my last name.
Gustavo C. At Gustavo C. Medeiros.
Yeah, at Gustavo C. Medeiros.
It's easy.
I think that probably is the easiest way to reach me. I check pretty frequently.
Cool.
Awesome. And do you work with patients?
Yes, so 80% of my time is research. I work with what we call difficult to treat depression. So people who did not respond to treatments before, I try to find new treatments for them. And 20% is with patients. So basically doing consultations. We also do treatments with esketamine, which is a new medication that's called Spravato. So I don't know if you've seen advertisements.
I've never seen that.
So it's kind of a treatment for difficult to treat depression as well. So 80% research, 20% clinical time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I hope to see you at PBJJF tournaments
For sure.
more.
For sure.
Talk about the tournaments. November 12th, all worlds coming up. If a black belt can fight for the belt, alright, you just can see over here. All the other belts go get the medal. The medal get bigger, pretty nice, look cool. The event will be like the large events in the area for sure. We go get the finals black belt on the large mat you guys ever saw. That's like 15 to 15, yeah, something
Meters,
like that.
yes, 15 meters by
Meters
15
by
meters.
15.
It's the
Wow.
largest mat ever made in the jiu-jitsu industry.
Yeah.
That's
Because we see so
awesome.
many people talking about getting out of bounds and hitting their floor on the mat and keep fighting out of the mat. To like let's make the largest mat in the jiu-jitsu industry for those the title.
Well.
And our mat's already large enough to not have that so many people getting out of bounds, and we stop people if they're getting out of bounds. We want to keep people
To
safe.
protect that.
We have the area on the purpose of competing in that area, And Gustavo, any last point for everybody? Any shout out to anybody?
First, thank you again. I think that just like when people suffer with mental health problems, they feel alone. I think that those problems are extremely frequent. So around 1/4 of the population will develop mental health disorders at some point. So don't feel alone and try to get help. I think that it's what I would like to say to, I'm sure that people that are listening to us, they are dealing with difficulties as well. And I think that's all. And follow us on Instagram as well.
Cool.
Yes, Gustavo C. Medeiros.
Yes.
Make sure you guys go follow, comment, like. I think it's important for people to interact, to give you
engage.
to give you more feedback on what
Yes.
they want to see. Right?
Yes.
It's extremely important.
We are in that phase that we are trying different things, we are trying different formats, and feedback's always welcome.
Awesome.
Let's shout out.
Let's shout out to our sponsor,
Brave
Brave
Kimonos.
Kimonos, the best jiu-jitsu gear in the market. Santos Lloyd Law Firm, a high-profile immigration law service.
PBS CRAWLSPACE Foundation and Parks Dental Care.
Parkes Dental Care. That's the way to go, guys. Thank you so much. Gustavo.
Gustavão.
Muito obrigado. Prazer ter